everyone. On our podcast show this week, we're doing some catch up with some of the tech news that's happening in the world. We're going to try something a little bit different, kind of a round robin, like badminton, hitting the birdie back and forth. Each of us has picked out 3 stories that neither of us know about, and we're going to share with each other and ask some questions just like you would as an audience.
Yeah.
But first, Amazon Prime Day just happened. It was last week.
Yes.
Last week we put out an episode about some of the catch-up news on EV technology that was happening. This year we have this week we have one more story on that. But Prime Day. What did you purchase, Winston? Anything?
Well, yes, there was like 25% off on the AirPods Pro 2. That's the one with the noise cancelling, hearing aid, and all that kind of stuff. I thought, well, that's a good price. So I decided to get that.
Okay. That's something that I actually want to hear about because that is very interesting. As we get older, we tend to not realize that we can't hear people. So that'll be very interesting to hear about. Hear about. And I can't wait to hear what your impressions
25%
are.
off. So it was originally $329 Canadian dollars.
Yeah.
So it was down to like 200 something. 220 or 230. I can't remember.
Well, Apple doesn't normally do any sales on their things. No. They tend to do full markup, full retail on everything like that. So that's a very rare opportunity to pick up some Apple
Prime Day
goods.
is good.
Definitely. Well, thanks to your impressions of a certain product, and that review will be going up next week. But the Osmo Pocket 3, my 2023 top 10 product for Christmas. I finally purchased one.
Yeah, you finally got one.
Yeah, it'll be arriving hopefully this week because they sold out almost immediately at the sale price of $929, which is the same price that you purchased it at.
Yes. That's the combo.
That's the creator combo that includes the microphone, case, kickstand, and also the extra battery. Well worth it for the price because that is, if you buy everything separately, it will be a lot more money, obviously, right? And those are good starter items, including the cover for the device to protect the gimbal, etc., etc. Now, one thing that I did also purchase for it is something that will give that cinematic look that a lot of the YouTube creators are putting out there, and that's just having filters. These are things that I use on all of my cameras anyhow. I always have a circular polarizer on my camera, no matter what, because in that way, all the reflections and everything from water and anything, the glare is removed. I also have a black mist filter. So if you're going somewhere where there's a lot of, you don't want that sharpness, you want a more organic look, there's a quarter black mist filter and also an ND. If you're in bright sunlight, you absolutely have to have an ND. And this is ingenious. It's actually a variable ND that goes on the front of your DJI tiny little gimbal lens. And they're magnetic, so they clamp right on there. That's right. They're just like the DJI OEM. And these are from a company called, not Newer, the other one. I can't remember, JJ Tech or something like that. Anyhow, I'll show them off at some point. Yeah. But phenomenal deal, $39 for all 3 pieces. And I found out that you can actually stack the circular polarizer or the black mist on top of the ND, which is actually very nice. 2 filters into one, like on top of each other. Yeah. But if you want to stack them and you want it to close, you have to remove one filter. So what I would probably do is I would leave the circular polarizer on there all the time to not only protect the lens, but also give me a picture that is less glary most of the time. And then if I am in daylight, bright sunlight and everything, I'll throw the ND on. Maybe, and because NDs are technically polarizers, there is some polarization in there, just not as strong. That should get rid of a lot of the glare. So it's a good combo for anyone that's looking to make sure that their shots are more cinematic. Because remember, when you go outside, the DJI actually has to auto-adjust itself if you're in auto mode to change the aperture to allow just around the right amount of light. But once you increase the aperture, you lose that cinematic look. Yeah, it's because like you go in from dark to bright and then bright to dark, like in a room going outside, and from the outside going into the room. It's So ISO can't help you. Shutter can't help you because Shutter will ruin your photo or your video if it's set too high. It's just too sharp. It doesn't have that fluid motion. So having an ND on there will reduce the need for ISO and shutter, and also increasing your f-stop so that you can actually run at the right f-stop to give that that kind of creamy bokeh look. So these are things that you absolutely need to get is for any camera, not just the DJI, and take it out of the auto mode and start shooting the right way.
Tell you one thing though, you love how convenient it is just to go from portrait to
I can't wait. I literally can't wait. More on that. More on this next week because we have a video coming up.
Yeah.
For that as well too with Winston's impressions. But first, that was my biggest purchase of Prime Day, and then my second was obviously the filters for it. But moving right along, we have some things that we want to talk about for news this week. And did you want to go first?
Yeah, I'll go first.
Okay.
Yeah, Intel.
Okay, what about Intel? the flailing company.
Yeah, well, they've actually launched a new chip and a new chipset to go with their boards. Arrow Lake.
Okay.
Yeah, it's codenamed Arrow Lake. It's the new so-called next-gen chip. But apparently, it's only like, it performs worse than the previous chip.
Why is that?
In terms of gaming performance now, Okay. Because it was some benchmark leaks out there, some leaks.
Oh.
And it showed that the new chip performs worse than the current, the highest one is the Core i9 1400K.
Okay.
Right.
But does it blow up and explode like the other chips?
No, it's not as, it consumes less power. That's good. Well,
so less blow up.
Yeah.
Okay.
So the chip is actually now based on, because all the previous chips were on 10 nanometers, right?
Yes.
That's the fabrication process. The smaller the nanometers, the more supposedly the NFG efficient, right?
Cooler,
yeah, stuff like that. So all the new mobile chips use the 3 nanometer and 5 nanometer, right?
Okay.
So Intel was still on the 10, whereas AMD, its competitor, was actually on the 7 nanometer.
And they're
right?
they're with TSMC, so they're building.
And now they're on the 5 nanometer chips now.
Okay,
so they're much more advanced in
Intel
that.
Has all.
And Nvidia's on their 3 nanometer, whatever. They're already advanced, right?
So Intel's way behind.
Intel's way behind on their 10 nanometers, right? So now the new chip, the Arrow Lake, is on the 7 nanometer. They finally moved on to the 7 nanometer chips.
Okay.
All right. And same, megabytes in cache, DL2 cache memory, which is needed for buffering data and stuff like that.
Right.
And then they use the 8-core, performance cores and 16 efficiency cores, right? So it's similar to like a mobile chip in terms of efficiency cores and
But you said it's slower and it's not on the best process. Who is this actually for?
This is for, I guess, consumers, right?
But is this like a mobile chip? Or
no, it's a desktop.
It's only desktop. So do you think we're going to get to a mobile chip?
Oh, they already have the new mobile chips for the new laptops. They were released, I think, earlier in the year. But for desktop PCs and for building and people want to do like proper like streaming and things like that and gaming, they'll have a desktop processor, right? So this is the new type. So with that, you can't fit this into the old motherboards.
So you need a new board as well?
You need a new board as well. All right.
Oh.
It's a new socket.
This is terrible.
Yeah,
this is terrible.
The old sockets are 1700, LGA 1700. This one, the new one, is LGA 1851.
Okay, let me get this straight.
Yeah.
It performs worse.
Worse in gaming.
It is on old manufacturing process.
Previous was 1, but now the new one is 7. So it's still new, but it's behind AMD.
It's behind everyone else. And you need a brand new motherboard that might cost you $400 or $500 for a good one.
Probably, yeah.
Intel, what are you doing? No.
This chip and
board.
Is
there anything that redeems it? Like, are we talking about something new that's attached to it that no one else has?
Yes. I mean, if this chip and board was released last year, great.
Okay.
But this released this year is pointless, I think.
Now, I heard that Thunderbolt 5 is part of this release.
Yes, I believe on the higher end boards.
Okay, so...
but who has devices that support that?
I heard there's 2 laptops on the market, one Alienware and one Razer.
Right, all right, okay.
Only 2 laptops support Thunderbolt 5.
There's no devices that utilize that anyway,
So basically what you're telling me, there's no point to buying any new Intel chip right now.
If you have a 14th gen right now, no.
Okay. So if you have, look for this. Obviously, you might have seen some deals on. I don't know if they had any deals because that's basically it for Amazon. I wasn't looking myself. I actually, thanks to Uncle Winston here, I have a 12th gen chip.
Yeah, that's right.
So I'm fine.
Yeah, that's again 12th gen. I mean 10th gen or 11th gen. And you think an upgrade? Then maybe.
Okay.
Like so most processors and desktops and PCs, if you utilize it for about 3 years, around about 3-4 years, I think it's time for an upgrade.
So, my board will do 12th, 13th, and 14th.
Your board will do 12th, 13th, 14th, yes.
Okay, so look for maybe a Black Friday deal for that last clearance deal on the 14th gen chip before they mess themselves up and release new boards that are expensive again. Okay, got it. All right.
Yeah, Intel sucks, by the way.
Intel does suck. We have I think it's a mutual friend that he helped launch Core 2 Duo in Taiwan when they completely mopped the floor of AMD. That was their highlight of their I guess the last 20 years. When AMD was really hanging on, and it's so disheartening to see Intel fall so far.
Yeah,
behind.
I mean, look at this, right? The highest chip is Core Ultra 9.
Oh, now they're doing ultras and nines and stuff like that.
The new naming process is called Core Ultras.
Okay.
So it's Core Ultra 3, Core Ultra 5, Core Ultra 7, and Core Ultra 9 is the high-end one. 285K, that's the naming of the chip. Now, look, it says here it operates at 3.7 gigahertz default, right? So, and it boosts turbo boost to 5.7 gig. Now, the old chip, 14th gen, 1400K, can boost actually up to 6 gigahertz.
So slower.
Intel. And then, it's now on the 7 nanometer, which is like the very late.
Yep.
And so, to be honest with you,
okay,
I don't know.
Buy the last generation and ride it out for the next 3 years. That's basically what you're saying, right?
Yeah. Okay. I mean, if you get it now, I mean, for the enthusiasts, the people on the early adopters, then we'll get the latest. But then, if I were you, I'll wait for another year, maybe 2 before jump on to this platform, the new Core Ultras.
Okay. Yeah. So basically, don't do it right now. Yeah, buy a 14th gen if it's on sale coming up after. Prime Day's done, but we've got Black Friday and Cyber Monday coming up. So maybe we'll see really great clearance deals from all the manufacturers, all doing something with clearing out their stock because they've got to get those other boards out in the wild. So tell me.
Yeah, what have we got?
How do you feel about leaks?
I love leaks. Google does it all the time, right?
Yeah, well, Google has leaked again.
Oh, have they?
Google has leaked again.
Okay.
Every year they have an A series, A SKU. To follow their series launch.
So it's like
a Series 9.
A more affordable version?
Google Series 9 is 9X, 9 Pro, XL Pro, and all the phones that we just talked about.
Pixel 7a, Pixel 8a, now you have the Pixel 9?
Now we have a Pixel 9a that's going to be coming very, very soon.
Okay.
And one of the signature features of Pixels has been that visor, that line across where it's like a very distinct line that shows that that's the camera bump, right? It's very unique, right?
Okay.
Well, it appears that they are starting to walk it back because we saw that in the 9 series where it's basically not all the way across. It's just one bump, one oval, not oval, but it's more like an oblong, rounded triangle, right? Well, the latest one has even less bump. It actually, from the renders that we've seen, which are probably going to be accurate, the bump is barely even there.
Oh, really?
So it's recessed.
So it's more flat.
It's flatter. Like from the renders and everything. Like this is something from our source this week is GSM Arena, and you can find this online. But the Google leak details that the newest phone will basically oh my god, it looks like an iPhone. Like it really does. It's very boring. Very mindful, very demure. But the flash is like this honking just circle on it, and the bump is not even there. So any cases that you have don't look the same. It looks like a generic, like one, not even the OnePlus. Like OnePluses look even more outrageous.
Tell me the difference between the Pro and the 9A. The 9 Pro
typically
and 9A.
It's going to have a lower camera spec.
Right. Okay.
Obviously, so it's going to be entry level camera, same chip, maybe a tweak on the tensor, just like the Pro series and everything like that. It's going to have a screen that might have slightly lesser technology or fewer pixels, maybe smaller.
Right.
Like for example, my 7A,
a higher spec screen. You don't need that, right? Okay.
Yeah. So my 7A had everything except the screen was like a little bit less good than the 7 Pro.
In other words, you won't have the OLED stuff with the...
It might have OLED, it just might not be the same resolution.
Right.
That's basically about it, right? Okay. You're not going to have as many pixels and everything like that. But that's basically the main difference is that they're coming away from the visor bar that made everything unique, and they're coming down to something that basically makes this phone more or less generic. And the funny thing is that sources say that this phone will be at least $50 more than last year's model.
Okay, so a little bit more.
Yeah, so $549.
It's probably the chip price, probably, like, you know.
Perhaps.
Yeah.
Perhaps. But it's leaked. It's out there. It's probably going to be no surprise, and it's going to run the latest version of Android once it comes out.
When these leaks happen, how soon do you think they'd be available? Usually,
well, 7A, 8A, came out like what, January?
Just January. After January. So after the New Year.
Yeah, after New Year, you're gonna get the 9A.
All right.
Right.
Okay.
And based on the past, this is gonna be pretty accurate.
Okay.
Yeah, it's gonna have Gemini.
It's just an updated like 7A.
It's a fan edition. So it's basically a fan edition of all the other specs that everyone loved in the Pro XL model.
So similar to like the Samsung.
It's a 7A. It's an 8A. It's a 9A.
It's an 9A.
Right? It's fan edition 24FE.
23FE.
23FE.
Okay.
Right? It takes all of the leftover parts. And builds this.
That works.
Okay. That does work. And you know what? They're not bad phones. In fact, the 7A, I think MKBHD said that it was one of the best camera phones. For the price. Best camera phones out there when it was the newest phone of that year. Okay, so no surprises. And now also on that note, Android 16 is going to be released early. So maybe this will be one of the first 16 series phones.
So Android 16, does that include AI stuff in there?
Oh, yeah, it's going to be AI. It's going to be loaded full of AI. I don't know how they're going to separate that because they're rumored to be asking for subscriptions. I don't know how that's going to work. Every phone that comes out right now, you have at least, a year of free stuff, and there's a price attached to it. They're going to have to adjust that because I think a lot of people are maybe not going to see the benefit of having these features on.
Because there was a thing about Gemini, right? And that's part of the Google thing. Is that and Android's Google anyway. So, and then you said with the Google phones, it's you get it with it for a year, right?
Yeah,
and
it's a freemium thing. You have to pay after
for a year, free for a year, and then after that you pay.
Yeah.
So
what are you losing? What are you gaining? There's going to be some analysis on that. Hopefully, they make it so compelling that people want to pay for it. But I think that overall, though, if it's not part of your monthly plan,
actually, I got an email from Google saying that because I pay for the Google services, Yeah,
I do too.
And I think I got a message that is saying it's coming with, if you pay a subscription on your Google services, you're actually going to get it as well.
Okay. Well,
apparently.
All right. There's more. See, I pay for it anyway. If it's like an extra $1 a month, I'm not going to care too much if I get all this extra stuff. But the question is that dollar going to give me the value that I want? That's all it comes down to.
Let's hope so.
And this is going to be a great option for people that did not get the 9 Pro, 9 XL, 9. This is going to be the phone for you if you broke your 8 Pro or whatever. I mean, the 8 series was probably
if it's sub $700, $600,
$549 US is what they're going for.
$549 US.
Yeah,
that's not bad.
Like I paid $649 Canadian for mine. My 7A.
Like I said, if it's affordable at sub 700, 600, that's a good price.
So we shall see.
It's better than spending $1,500 for a new phone, which...
I just hit the birdie back to you.
All right, okay. Robotaxis. Yeah, it's actually happening. Well, it's not actually happening.
It's already happened, but...
10th of October is when they had the event, the Robotaxi event.
Okay.
10th of October.
Yes.
So... what was revealed? I haven't seen it yet, but I'm expecting this new car shape. Apparently, it's Robotaxis.
Okay.
So it's gonna be a fleet of them somewhere.
And Elon thing,
and it's gonna be crazy because I don't know where it's gonna be. Each city had its own kind of testing ground, right? Like a beta thing, right? So where is it gonna be tested? Probably in LA, right, somewhere. Or maybe
Waymo's been testing. Waymo and Cruise, they've been testing in like Silicon Valley, San Francisco.
But this is crazy because according to Elon, right, it's going to bring in extra revenue of $150 billion.
For who? Where's the money going?
Tesla.
To Tesla.
That's
Okay.
That's what you. That's
So
what
what's
he
the
said.
business model here? Walk me through.
So they're
How?
probably selling these cars to, I don't know, probably provincial governments, maybe taxi companies and stuff like that, and then they're probably leasing them out, maybe.
Okay.
So, and then there's like, and then this is just the US, right? They're talking about global here. So it's global revenues. He reckons it's going to generate over $1.7 trillion.
That's the GDP of some countries. Big countries.
So who's going to take up global? I mean, half the countries, I mean, are the satellites ready? The satellites, are they ready to just do all your GPS and self-driving stuff? That's just going to, I mean, I'm sure some certain countries probably won't allow it.
You know, there's this movie China. On Netflix where all of the Elon cars smashed into each other on the highway.
Oh, yeah, what the film was that?
Yeah, I can't remember it. Yeah, it was a while ago, right? But I was also recently watching Terminator Zero, which was the anime on Netflix. Also another one, and they parked all of these robots in warehouses ready to invade, and they are centrally controlled from a giant AI brain.
There was this thing, I saw a documentary of some guy just bought a Tesla, right? And with the self-driving mode and stuff like that, he was going on to, and this is not recent now, this is Elon maybe 5-10 years ago. And he was going about, yeah, you can actually, when you're on holiday, leave the car at your driveway and it will actually earn money for you.
But what if someone trashes it? I mean, you're not there to supervise, are you?
So the car,
like, come on,
people will go off and pick up customers, and then you'll drop off, and they'll drive it back to your garage or whatever, or your parking space, because you're away on holiday, and you're actually making money.
Most people are good. They will respect your property, but people are also rated by how they do that. On platforms like Uber and Lyft, drivers rate passengers.
Yeah.
And if you're wondering why you don't get picked up, there's a very, very good reason why. Because you're probably a pig. I'm sorry. You did something bad.
Maybe someone stole your Tesla and they just ripped your car up and sold it for parts.
Yeah, like what if you take it to a chop shop? What's going to happen next? Right? Like, honestly, you know, like, and they disable the chip and then they drive it to another location and then they strip your car. Right?
Yeah.
You know?
Well, these cars, these robotaxis are meant to be affordable. They're sub $30,000.
Okay, so they're very, very stripped down. They're probably like a low cost carrier, like Ryanair, where the plate seats are all plastic.
Probably just one color, either black or white.
You can you can fire hose the inside to clean it out. You know, very easy to clean and maintain.
Yeah.
So like a school bus.
Oh, that means in the future you'd be able to say, for example, you or myself, I'll be able to say buy 2 of these and just let it earn money for me.
Why not have both? You're at work. Have it drive around your block. I wonder how insurance is going to be affected, because it's going to be interesting to see what happens, right? Because human drivers are inherently flawed, emotional beings.
Yeah.
And if a robotaxi, even though they're doing the right thing and going the speed limit and everything, there's always going to be that one guy in the huge pickup truck that thinks he's going too slow.
Yeah, I think to prevent people from stealing the robotaxis or whatever, they probably have robotaxis without a steering wheel.
Oh, you know what? They've talked about that for a very long time. Yeah, no wheel.
So no wheel, no steering wheel. So
or it retracts so that you can't do that.
Yeah.
Right? There's no wheel. Okay, that's one way to help that out. But a tow truck can still tow it away.
Oh yeah, I mean if it's blocking traffic, then of course
it can still be towed away.
Yeah, I mean the traffic cop's going to say,
So $30,000, not for the consumer to buy. Well, consumer to buy, or better yet, a fleet sale. Obviously, Mr. Musk has been accused of puffery.
All right.
How long is this going to take? Is it next year?
Nah,
is it 10 years?
Well, the launch event on 10th of October. Yep. Remember they announced the Tesla's
Cybertruck took 3 years.
Cybertruck, yeah.
Right? Roadster is still not out.
So when they announced this robotaxi now, so it's going to be another 3 years or more before we actually see anything.
Roadster is still not out. It's been 5 years.
Isn't that the new one that's...
the Roadster was launched into orbit. It's still not out.
Our friend Alex, with the RAM.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, he wanted to get the Tesla. He says, I'll be getting one.
The Roadster?
Yeah, Roadster.
Yeah, he's never going to get it. He might.
Alex May, if you're watching.
Elon may not even make it to Roadster.
Isn't this supposed to be the fastest thing, like 1.6 seconds? Like
yeah, it uses like pressurized gas to actually accelerate the car and keep it on the road. It's like thrusters on a SpaceX module, right? So there's aeronautic technology built into it to make it very, very fast. So it'll be interesting to see when this happens. But even the Roadster is way, way behind. Yeah, all these projects are way, way behind.
Oh, interesting. Now, I saw the Cybertruck in real life.
Yeah, there's one here. I've driven down the road with one. It just looks ridiculous.
It does look ridiculous.
It looks completely out of place.
It kind of like, from the photos and the videos, it looks pretty cool, right? But when you actually see it in real life,
I don't like it in real life.
It's like the driver's compartment is so squished up in the front, and then this thing at the back, it just doesn't do anything.
It looks. Not only does it look out of place in traffic, but it looks worse for some reason. It looks worse, right? Like, I mean, yes, you can make any car look cool by dropping the camera, wide angle and everything like that. It looks cool, but then you see it in person.
How is it aerodynamic? Because it's just so blocky and square.
I don't think it is.
It's not, is it? I mean, if you look at most, I say sports car, but cars, they have a nice smooth, like aerodynamic kind of, contoured body work, but this one's just square and blocky.
It might as well be a board cube.
A board cube.
Yeah, like maybe it was meant to fly in space.
Oh, hey, did they have one up in space?
No, he has a Roadster.
Roadster.
Yeah, but there's no Cybertruck in space.
He wants one up there.
In space, it doesn't matter because there's no wind resistance. There's no air resistance.
So you're telling me a Roadster is floating around in the orbit?
No, it's gone into
outer space. Like out interstellar.
It's gone. Bye-bye. It's interstellar, right? So Matthew McConaughey may pick it up at the other side of the galaxy at some point. Okay, my turn.
All right, your turn.
Okay. What have you got? Speaking of cars, I know we have a lot of car stuff happening here, but it's interesting news right now. Android Wireless Auto is in some cars, but not all cars.
Right.
Right?
Okay.
And it's a really frustrating thing when the lower trim model of your vehicle has a wireless auto, but your top end one with the big infotainment system and everything does not. And that's what we've been finding in a lot of cases. Right?
Yeah.
So in order to get wireless Android Auto, and let me explain the concept to you. Normally you would have the USB cable that plugs into the bottom of your phone that projects the screen of your phone with Android Auto interface. So you can do your maps, you can have your music, you can have other apps running on the screen inside your vehicle.
Connected through your USB cable.
Connected through your USB cable, projecting through your phone to the screen on your car. Right? This overrides the infotainment system that's already in your vehicle.
Okay.
Period. Right?
Okay.
But those cables break, or they short circuit, or they don't work right a lot of the time, and they don't put enough power into your phone to actually physically charge it. As long as your phone is open, it's sucking power, right? So it'd be better off for you to charge it very fast and have a connection that is doing just the Android Auto stuff. Unless your vehicle has Android Auto built into it, and a lot of vehicles do, like the Polestars, Volvos, and whatnot. But not everyone has that. So the first company that actually put out a wireless adapter was a company called AAWireless. They're a European-based company, and they're ready to roll out a new version of it that also supports Carplay, because Carplay in a lot of cases is not wireless in a lot of vehicles as well too. Most decks can actually support either Android Auto or Carplay.
Carplay is Apple, right?
But not wirelessly either or. Right? So AAWireless was the first dongle out there to actually support Android Auto Wireless. So you plug it into your USB port, you leave it alone. It shuts off when your car shuts off, and then when you turn it on, you walk in, the phone's in your pocket, it immediately sends the projection of your phone to your infotainment system. Very, very convenient, because now you don't have to physically plug in the cable or wonder, where did you leave the cable?
Right. So
it's always there.
So the phone connects wirelessly to that dongle.
Yeah.
Not the actual car info.
Yes, because sometimes in some vehicles, you can have wireless built into it, but it's usually the lower end. For some reason, it's weird. The lower end version of it, or it's got to be like some obscure head unit that you've never heard of before. It's got to have that in there, built in, right? And it seems to be very, very rare. This is why these dongles actually exist. So AAWireless is the company that brought it out. They were a Kickstarter and everything like that. They're releasing AAWireless 2.
Okay.
Right? Now, AAWireless 2, there's a quirk about it. AAWireless 2, this device only does Android Auto, which is fine. Most people love Android Auto, but this is wireless, right? It's supposed to work better, more seamless integration, better software moving forward, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. My mini review of this device in the previous version, the first version, was that it wasn't actually better than my $30 Temu looking dongle. It wasn't.
In terms of
it didn't solve any problems.
In terms of speed or?
No, it didn't solve the problem. The problem I had was that it kept disconnecting all the time, and it's kept freezing. And the AAWireless did exactly the same thing. So why do I want to spend double the money on this device to have the same thing happen to me, right? Like, yes, I could probably hear that the audio was just a little bit crisper, maybe. Maybe they use a better codec for the Bluetooth audio, but it wasn't worth it. So I returned it.
Okay.
I returned it, okay? So their new version hopefully has some improvements because the hardware's a little bit different. The software's upgraded. It's a little bit better. I would like to try it again. And one thing that the other device didn't have was that you can actually use multiple phones. So if your wife gets in, click the button, your wife's phone. Click the button, your phone.
Okay.
Both phones in the car, what happens? Well, one of them's going to take over, right?
Yeah.
The primary phone's going to take over.
The primary, set the primary. Okay, set the primary.
So it's a button. It's a button push because now you don't have to go into there's an app for it. You can download firmware and everything like that. But the app controls which phone, and that's not convenient.
Right. So
it's hardware.
So we're talking about that problem with disconnecting. Is it to do with when the phone goes to sleep or the screen shuts off? You know, that's screensaver mode?
Shouldn't happen.
It shouldn't happen, right?
No, I always turn off my screen when I go in the car.
If it's
usually in my pocket.
Connected without a command to say disconnect, it should be always connect, right?
Well, the app is always connect because that's the default setting in Android Auto. This should not happen.
Right.
But it still does that. So why would I spend $30 on a dongle to have a $60 problem?
Still disconnects.
It still disconnects. Okay, so solved, no problem.
Okay.
I'm hoping that this new version might be better. I'm willing to try it, and if it doesn't solve the problem, sorry, right? They do make a second version of it. This was one of the confusions initially was that this new version, the 2, would support CarPlay as well too. It does not. They have a new version that will support both. So you have a choice of buying just the Android Auto, which a lot of people choose to do because they are in the Android ecosystem. That's why AAWireless, Android Auto Wireless, existed in the first place. So the Android Auto Wireless 2 Plus will be the one that supports CarPlay Wireless as well too. If you're Apple and Android household, and if you have an iPhone and an Android phone, you can switch between the two using the button as well too.
Okay.
So if your wife has an iPhone and you have an Android, that alleviates that bottleneck as well too in vehicles that do not have wireless capability, which is many of them.
Yeah. Unless you go for the premium brand, high-end cars.
Price is around $64 US, so it's going to be $100.
$100
Canadian,
it's
right?
Okay. It's okay.
And it's not even a high-end car problem; it just doesn't have it. Period.
You wonder why? Because I mean, you're spending like $50,000-$60,000.
Well, no Tesla has this.
Tesla doesn't even have it?
Yeah. No Tesla has Android Auto or CarPlay.
I would have thought like
CarPlay maybe, but later.
No, they do have it as an option. That's right. They do have it on as an option, but these options are ridiculously priced. Like I remember it was I can't remember.
No Android Auto.
I think it's just CarPlay maybe, but they added like $500. $500 for a CarPlay option.
Yeah. Might want to check that out because I was certain that Android Auto and CarPlay were not available in Teslas.
I think not just Teslas, but other cars you can have.
Lucid just added an option to do CarPlay.
Yeah, you have to pay extra for that.
Well,
right?
It's $100,000 car.
Yeah.
Right, but it's not a wireless situation. You still have to plug it in, I believe. And therein lies the rub. This removes that issue because you don't need a cable. So did I explain it to you correctly?
Yeah.
Okay, so this is a wireless option for getting into your car because right now I know that you have to plug a cable into your vehicle in order to have that project. You can't leave it in your pocket. You can't leave it in the wireless charger in your car. You can't use the high-powered.
There's a USB port there for...
Because one of the ports in your car is high-powered but it's not data. So it will not project and charge your phone at the same time. So that was always kind of an issue. Because when you use Android Auto and you use the weak data cable with only like point something of an amp, it will not charge the phone fast enough.
Yeah. That's the solution stuff. And I'm just talking about why cars don't include it.
Some cars do. It's just that the trim, for some reason, not all trim levels have it.
All right. Okay. Right? The higher trim levels, you pay more.
And that's not even accurate because some trim levels simply don't have it.
Right.
And they're the highest end model. My vehicle is the highest end model in my line. It doesn't have it.
Oh, right.
Apparently the hardware is inside, but they refuse to activate it for some strange reason.
Licensing.
I have no idea.
You gotta pay for licensing.
Okay.
Pay the fees.
So this is the thing that solves the problem. It's coming soon. Might even be here in time for Christmas. So we might see it on the Amazon store. Their current model is already on there. In terms of alternatives, there is the Motorola version, which is endorsed by Android and Android itself, Android Auto, certified. MA1 is the model. That is going to be a $40, $50 solution, a little bit cheaper than the AAWireless, no app, but it just plug it in and it just works, right? Okay. So there are other options there. My option was $30.
So you're telling me with all these options available plugged in, you'll be able to like play videos and things like that as well?
No.
No?
That's illegal. You can't watch videos on your phone.
No. I mean, of course.
This is a UK thing.
Actually, no. Not while you're driving. Not while you're driving. I'm talking about like an infotainment system where you can turn it on if you want it. If you're parked up and you know, camping, whatever, you'd be able to like plug this in and watch your videos.
I can listen to podcasts.
You can listen to podcasts. Okay. Because I'm sure I've seen certain.
I've never been able to turn on
where you be able to, there was a browser. Well,
you can watch Netflix inside a Tesla, but it has to be in park.
Yeah, it's in park. Yeah, I'm talking about that.
Android Auto does not have that because inherently you can misuse it.
Oh, yeah, I guess.
Right.
I guess. Yeah, I guess.
Okay. Your turn.
All right. So Google's in trouble again.
Oh, speaking of Google, yes.
Google's a lot of things.
Oh boy.
And they do get, of course, a big company like this, huge company, you're bound to get certain, trouble.
What did they do now?
They're threatened by the US to break up Google because their search engine is so powerful and so dominating that it's just crushed every other competitor out there. There's no other search engine available for you today. There's a better alternative than Google. That isn't there.
Oh, you know what? It's funny you mentioned that. Apple was one of their key witnesses, I believe, and Apple said that Bing, we wouldn't let Bing near any of our products. It's inferior.
Bing is pants.
Right?
Bing is, don't bother using Bing.
Don't bother with Bing.
You can use Bing to download Chrome on Google.
Yes. Okay, so it's monopoly, but how will you split up the single best search engine out there? How?
I don't know.
You can't do it.
You can't because everything's integrated. Like for your Gmail, right? Your Google Docs, your calendars, right? I use those items all the time, and it's all integrated into this Google, right? Right. And of course, from that, the Google phones or Androids, because full integration with your Android phones or phones which use Android as OS integrates with all your Google stuff, right? Including your Gmail, your account settings and things like that. And that's all part of the Google search engine thing.
Yes.
That's all integrated anyway. So I'm going to break it up. Yeah, it's going to be a nightmare.
It's one single search engine. You put in your query and it just gives you an answer, right?
Yeah.
I'm sure that a lot of things do that, like ChatGPT. But even ChatGPT still uses.
Yeah. I think what they want to do is they want to break up Google in terms of like YouTube, right? Separated from Google.
Oh, no, I totally agree with that.
Google is Google.
Because YouTube is the second largest search engine on the internet.
Exactly. Second. First is Google.
First Google, second YouTube.
So they're dominating, right? Completely.
Yeah.
And I think they want to separate that.
Well, I agree with that because a lot of times when you look at how Google operates, even YouTube themselves didn't realize that they went over their heads. I mean, case in point, when they were training Gemini, they didn't realize that Google had broken their TOS, which is to use Gemini to train on YouTube videos. right? They trained on YouTube videos, okay? So the whole search engine, all of the information has been trained on all of your MKBHD, Linus Tech Tips videos, right? It's all our podcast even has been hit probably with that bot, right? So it's trained on us. What I would like to see, if they were to do that, is maybe pay us a little bit, tell us that, hey, we want to train on these videos, we're going to pay you X amount of dollars. That would be more fair to the creator.
Yeah, and the other thing was, because they dominate the search, also means that advertisers, they also take a huge market share of advertisers. The advertisers are more willing to pay more money on Google than other platforms. Or Yahoo, whatever.
Or no money on X, Twitter.
Yeah.
No money.
No, my advertising spend is
it's not Twitter. It's not Twitter.
Yeah, X Twitter. Yeah. So that's what they're saying. So it's unfair to not just competitors, advertisers, and users.
Yeah.
But as a general, it doesn't improve the experience of everyone really.
I can't really disagree with this. I think they have gotten big. And I think they have definitely dominated the market for having the best search engine out there. That's both a blessing and a curse.
Yeah, because I mean, if you said like, if you do a search, it's not just search texts of websites and news and things like that. What also comes up in the search? Also videos.
Yep.
See,
YouTube videos.
Not in YouTube search, in Google search.
Yeah. YouTube videos and Google search.
Yeah.
Yeah. So everything is connected. So. Yeah, I don't disagree with the assertion to have it separate. I just don't know how, because it's so well integrated. The reason why it's good is because of that integration. Unraveling it would actually make it less good.
It would, and it would invite competitors.
Maybe.
And would it be better? I don't know.
Maybe. Or you know what? Better yet, let's just say that Google search was one option, and all of the other entities had open APIs where these other searches could go into them and connect. That would take a lot of work to build those connections. But it might provide Google with a new revenue stream.
Well, if they license certain things.
Yeah, they license this out. This is your connection to YouTube. You have the same connection as Google search does to this. You could even use an alternative search engine for your Gmail. You can choose one of the options. Like, for example, how Internet Explorer is now an option to Chrome inside Windows.
Yeah.
You know, maybe this is the way. Right. I think maybe it is.
Well, I won't say a success story, but one of the stories that we, in my lifetime, is how eBay and PayPal, because they were bought out by eBay, wasn't they? Right, PayPal.
Yeah.
And now they're separated again.
Yeah.
So that kind of worked. Yeah.
Together and separate.
Yeah. And so, because when they were together, it was just. They were dominating, right? And there was no other payment system that could have gone into eBay apart from PayPal because they're integrated, right?
Yeah.
So when they separated it, now you allow options to pay by credit card and payment by banks and stuff like that, right? Options for that. Whereas before you couldn't. It was just PayPal only, right?
Yeah.
And then, so maybe that way they could separate it with Google somehow, you know?
Well, it's a very big and messy thing to separate this because, again, I mean, Google has to figure out how to unravel everything. Google actually has to build an interface where everyone else can connect to it and provide a viable option to it. At the same time, though, these new players must adhere to the same standards of privacy and everything to protect user data, right?
Yeah.
Because if Google allows that connection and something happens down the road, I think Google is liable.
So I think what happened, probably Google will say, okay, I own up. I mean, we own everything.
Yeah.
And we'll just pay you a fine. Like Microsoft does. Microsoft does all the time. They're not going to
we'll pay the fine.
Look, Microsoft, same thing, right? They dominate in everything, right? Office, OS.
Cloud.
They want to separate it, right?
Yeah.
And US government or whatever government's been trying to make Microsoft split up, but no. You can't.
They always end up coming back together.
Yeah, you can't because it's just so integrated that you just can't.
Okay.
And so they just pay fines and that's it.
Well, it might be cheaper to pay the fine. I mean, everyone does the math. Is the fine worse than developing this system?
Yep.
It's not. Okay, let's just pay the fine.
Just Apple does it, pay the fine. Microsoft does it, pay the fine.
Yeah, if you can afford the fine, pay the fine.
Google pay the fine.
That's so wrong, but based on the numbers, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, I guess I'm last, right?
Yeah, go ahead.
All right.
What have you got? Where else?
So, EV news.
Yes.
Okay.
What's been happening?
So GM.
Okay.
First of all, let's
General Motors, right?
General Motors.
Is that the group name, or was it in the new name? Is another name for it?
General Motors.
What's Stellantis? Which is
Stellantis is another group.
It's another group. Okay.
Has nothing to do with GM.
I'm getting mixed up here.
Yeah.
Okay.
Nothing to do with GM.
GM is General Motors.
General Motors.
Okay. So what's happening?
So a lot of companies right now, especially Ford, have been benchmarking Chinese vehicles.
Okay. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
What they found out is that the Chinese market is way ahead.
Way ahead.
Way ahead. Okay. Not only are the vehicles high quality, but they're also very competitively priced. Now, there's another side to that. Are they repairable? How repairable are they? Do you just trash it? Is it junk? That remains to be seen. Okay, because we don't have any of those vehicles to benchmark ourselves in this market. That's why even the governments have stepped up with 100% tariffs on Chinese vehicles if they want to come to this market. Now, VinFast gets around it because they're not technically China; they're Vietnam.
Right.
But even VinFast is not doing so hot because they only have 200 vehicles in the US. The VF8, they only have 200 vehicles.
Okay, so the reason why we don't see any China-made or China-branded EVs in the US and Canada is because there's massive tariffs on it.
There's tariffs now, but also all of the major players believe that they are an existential threat to what they have right now.
They want to protect their own market.
They want to protect their own market. And they've seen it.
And the reason why I say that is because in the UK, we're seeing China-made EVs hitting the UK market.
Yeah,
MG.
Yep.
And a few of those as well.
Used to be a UK brand.
The UK brand, and then China bought them out. And making China-branded MG
and Jaguar
cars.
is now a Tata, which is Indian.
Okay. All right. So what were the Chinese brands of EVs?
BYD, NIO. Xiaomi is now in the mix now. They have a beautiful car.
Right.
So all of these tech companies are now coming out with BYD also manufactures the, just so you know, Subaru and Toyota, they're two EVs. The only two that they have are manufactured by BYD. They're a partnership.
Okay, I didn't know that. Okay.
So they have the knowledge and the know-how to actually satisfy these two not huge. Well, Toyota's the huge one. Subaru is kind of the smaller kind of niche market. But both of them were satisfied by a partnership with a Chinese manufacturer. Okay. So that's the caliber and the OEM nature that they have.
Right.
Foxconn is also in there as well too, contract manufacturing some things into the market. Things that we may have never seen before. Okay.
All right. So they're more advanced.
Way more advanced. It's basically like building a phone, whereas it's basically like, how should I say? North America builds coal-powered locomotives and China builds bullet trains. Or maglevs. Maglevs versus coal-powered trains.
Okay.
Right? This is basically what's happening right now, right? Because internal combustion is North America's bread and butter, right? EVs, and this is why there's so much division, right? It's like we dominate in this space. We are going into a space where we don't dominate. We are afraid of that space because humans inherently they don't like uncertainty and they don't like change.
But in order for an EV market to grow, you need the infrastructure, right? So
so we've already talked about that in our previous episode. We have an electric highway that goes all the way up to Alaska now. There is no excuse.
That's right. So you need that massive infrastructure for basically having EVs to go everywhere, anywhere, anytime. And if you haven't got that, then that's why there's
ranges are increasing. Battery reliability is way like a standard EV. Even if the body disintegrated, the battery itself would last 20 years. We've already established that.
Okay, so let me get this straight. One of the reasons why, Chinese branded EVs are cheap, affordable, is because the manufacturing is done in China, right? So therefore, the batteries, the whole chassis, everything, right? It's all made in China. Especially, for example, Elon's gigafactory in China, making Teslas there affordably, cheap. But in the US and Canada, are there any manufacturing facilities to make EVs? There isn't, is there? Not many.
Well, Volkswagen.
They make their own vehicles in.
I think it's in the US.
In the US, they make the vehicles in the US.
The Equinoxes are made in the US.
All right. So you're looking at just maybe one or two brands of car. Ford have
are
their
manufactured in the US.
Okay.
F-150s and Mach-E's. It's not.
So
let me bring it back. Let me focus back on what I want to get to. The reason why I brought up China is because they have a cost advantage.
Right. Cost advantage, yeah.
They have a technology advantage. All of the major players realize this. So how are they going to compete? How are they going to get vehicles en masse out in the market to compete against China, right? Even with the tariffs in place, it may not be enough. So the only place where they can actually innovate, or actually maybe uninnovate, is in the battery technology.
Okay.
Now, back to GM. GM has a really great technology called Ultium. They're basically battery packs that are malleable, that will go into any chassis in any shape. So you can have more varied vehicles, right? For example, the Honda Passport, that is a partnership with GM. That entire chassis, entire vehicle is a GM vehicle with Honda software and accoutrements. It's a Honda, but inside it's a GM.
Okay.
And it was good enough for them.
Okay.
That they saw that innovation, right?
Yeah.
Unfortunately, the Ultium technology, because it is their own technology, it's homebrewed and everything like that, there are costs attached to that. It is more expensive to build an Ultium vehicle than it is any other vehicle right now. So what they've done is that they are looking at cost-cutting measures to bring the price down by going to more conventional means of using more conventional means of putting batteries into their vehicle, not Ultium. So the Ultium branding's gone. It's whatever battery technology you get in the vehicle, it could be Ultium, it might not be. It's going to have a battery. So you can have any battery. Any supplier battery inside the vehicle.
Okay.
So this will reduce the cost of a vehicle by almost $6,000 US.
Okay, so
they're going to more conventional technologies like LFP, using circular cells, rounded cells, whatever basically becomes a commodity, right? It's just like fuel. You can buy it from any gas station. In this case, you're going to get the battery packs, batteries from any supplier, reducing the cost overall.
Oh, talking about batteries, aren't they making battery factories in Canada, somewhere in Toronto?
Yeah, but that's been put on hold.
Oh, it's on hold. Okay.
I believe it's still coming, but we're not sure when.
Okay.
But this is how they're going to reduce $6,000 off the price of the vehicle. That's significant.
That's good.
That's significant.
Yeah.
Because right now, by doing that, by unbranding the battery, it doesn't matter what you have. It's like Teslas. Teslas can have an LFP or nickel cobalt battery.
We don't know what it is.
We don't know what's inside.
Yeah, we don't know what's inside.
We don't know. So an LFP battery is more durable because it's lithium iron.
Right.
Lithium F iron polymer battery, right?
Yeah.
That's going to be cheaper than your nickel, cobalt, manganese batteries, right? It's going to be more durable. You can charge it to 100% more often. It has some deficits. Like, for example, apparently it's not supposed to be as good in cold, but with a battery cooling heat management system, it might not actually be an issue because we now have liquid cooled batteries in most vehicles these days, right? Whereas before, they were all air cooled. So this may or may not be an issue as these systems become more sophisticated. So we know that the Equinox and the Blazer are already in the market. I've seen them around town. And but those vehicles, even though they are entry level, they're still very expensive. Now, the Chevy Bolt is coming back, and we might see this technology, this non-branded technology in that vehicle to really finally bring down a $40,000 or below Canadian vehicle.
So looking at 25,000 under US.
Yeah.
That'd be good.
That would be great. And because the technology has been going up and up and up, density has been going up and up and up, battery reliability has been going up and up. I mean, the last study that we talked about in our last episode, 20 years, 1.8% degradation per year, right? To get an 80% battery. Now it's going to be even better. The new Bolts apparently going to charge faster. They're going to have more range.
Yeah, I think
it's going to be great.
Charging time is the key, is the big issue here.
Charging time is going to go down as a result because they charge faster.
Yeah, charge faster.
Because the Bolts have always been like the joke vehicle at the Tesla supercharger, because that vehicle will be there for at least an hour. Right? Because it only charges at 50 kilowatt per hour, right? Not a great road trip vehicle if you need to be in and out fast. So this is all going to be good. It's going to there's going to be a little bit of controversy initially because if you have an Ultium vehicle, yeah, my vehicle's better. It's an Ultium vehicle. What's in yours? I don't know. Right? And it might be a trim level thing as well, too. If you want the entry level batteries, they're all going to be this. If you want the Ultium battery or the premium battery, it's going to be up here.
Yeah.
You know?
They're going to just market it as standard battery or premium battery. That's it. They're not going to put brand names on there because that's just going to...
So this is what like the Elon company did, is that they literally said, hey, we don't know what's in it. It's the batteries, the 64 kilowatt hour. That's the battery that's in your vehicle. We don't know what it is.
Yeah.
Right. Until we replace it. Boom. Done. Finished.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So that's a good thing. It's also going to make it so that there's going to be more players in the market supplying these cells, and costs coming down is actually a good thing. And it's going to help the North American market, North American players, the old companies have at least some chance of trying to erase that 100% tariff. And if the tariff reduces at some point, they'll be in a more competitive space. Hopefully by then, right?
I still don't think that they'll have China branded EVs here, to be honest with you.
It's going to take a lot of work, but they already have China branded tires here. They already have those, right? Sailun. Sailun. They are in North America now.
Yeah.
They've been testing the market. They've been very careful getting in here. Their factories are very high end, right? I mean, some of the major players, Michelin and Nokian and Continental, they were at some point actually using Russian factories that used like they pulled out, but that's really old school, old world factories. Whereas the factories in China, clean. Like they're using the latest technology.
Yeah.
Right. That's how they're built.
My friend's in Hong Kong right now. He says the uptake of people driving China branded EVs in Hong Kong have increased like 100-fold.
And why not?
Literally, every other, say out of 10 cars, you have at least 3 or 4, which is actually either a BYD or a Neo.
Yeah.
One of those brands.
Yeah, and Hyundai's the only company that's going full on into EVs. They don't see a future with internal combustion engines. In fact, it's costing them money right now because of all the recalls on internal combustion engine vehicles for them. So as a complete pivot, they're going to move away from those, reduce the number of internal combustion engine vehicles, and actually go all the way through EVs. And they're launching a number of vehicles next year, and it's going to be more. And they're adopting the North American charging standard.
Nice.
It's all going to happen. So domestically, even all these major players have to compete against Hyundai Group as well too. So Hyundai Group, China EVs with a tariff, they're going to have to figure it out. And
they're going to have to figure it out. I mean, if they allow like Hyundai Korean brands and Kias and stuff like that into the country,
Korea makes LG and Samsung batteries.
Oh yeah,
right. You go. Right. Yeah. LG. Don't forget LG, huge player. Philips is Japanese. Oh no, not Philips. Sorry, the other company that does batteries.
Fujitsu.
I can't remember. Panasonic. Sorry, Panasonic. Panasonic does batteries. That's one of their core competencies. So Japanese made cells. It's going to be very interesting. But the number one cost of any electric vehicle is the battery. And I think this is a smart move. I think the Ultium brand name, I understood why they want to bring out the technology, but they need de-emphasizing it, I think, is a better move to bring the cost of the vehicles down.
True.
All right.
Okay.
Are we out of gas?
Yeah, I mean, that's it. I mean, that's a decent update of all the things been happening recently. Yeah. We're on 10, 11 episodes now.
Yeah, I think last week was 110. This week it'll be 111. And stay tuned next week for a look at one of the items that I bought on Prime Day, which is the DJI Pocket Osmo 3, which is something that Winston has been enjoying for the entire month. Yeah. And he's giving his thoughts on it next week, okay? So stay tuned for that.
We will have 2 of these now.
I will have one, yes.
We're walking around...
mine will be attached to my backpack strap, and they'll be looking around at things. They'll be very interesting, and I can't wait to get my hands on it. I'm actually probably going to be selling my full frame camera and keeping my cinema camera for special projects. But if you bought anything for Prime Day, let us know what it was and why you bought it. We'd love to do a show and tell below and see what else all of you have found on Amazon Prime Days. Obviously, the products that are on sale in Canada are different than the rest of the world, so it'll be interesting to see what was on sale in your neck of the woods.
That's right.
Until next time, Winston and I say bye-bye.
Bye-bye.